Okay, welcome back to our third episode of our Meet the Mentor series here at MentorME. I've got the absolute pleasure of welcoming both Luke and Samuel from Harvey Warrington Media, so welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. So if you want to just give a brief introduction of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Sam and co-founder / sales director of Harvey Warrington Media. We set the company up back in 2019. So I'm very much involved in growing the revenue, client retention and making sure everybody's hitting targets. And then over to you, Luke.
Yep, so I'm Luke Harvey, so co-founder of Harvey Warrington Media as well. I tend to look after marketing as I'm marketing director, so look after the marketing team, make sure the ads are going out, making sure we're hitting the numbers, getting the leads in for the clients.
Yeah, I think that's really important, isn't it? Especially with any social media agency, it's like, the clients are so important that you've got to be all over it. You've got to absolutely be all over it. So thank you very much for coming. In terms of both of you, what sort of drew you guys together to build an agency together? Because a lot of people will start off by themselves. So good friends, are you? Business partners? How did it get started?
Yeah, so prior to this, we've always been good pals. We went to different schools, but where we live in South Croydon, everything's very close together. So I went to a school called Woollingham, Luke went to the Stafford. We was always at the same parties, and we've always been the kind of lads from our area who have been quite entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Luke will go into more detail later, but he sold like sledges,
selling cans of coke at school,
fences to his next door neighbours.
Couple Christmas trees here and there.
Selling water to the sea.
Give it a go.
So yeah, we've always been good pals. We came together because, in fact, I'm going to let Luke tell this story about how it started because it's better coming from him.
All right, cool. Go for it. On cue. So I wasn't necessarily looking to get into social media, but I was looking for something, some kind of business idea. I always knew I wanted to do a business, but never really found the right one. And I've had a couple of friends that were doing pretty well. Like I had one that moved to America and he was just running social media accounts full time.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was building up a house music event at the time. So I was learning about marketing just from being involved in it.
Yeah.
And then I went on holiday to South Africa and I got burnt the first day. Like I'm talking.
You look like you burn quite easily.
Oh, really? I am. So I've never been burnt so bad in my life.
Yeah.
Literally, I had like blisters everywhere and it was the first day. So
Ouch.
had to spend like the whole time just in the shade.
Yeah.
So 7 hours a day, I just started Googling and watching YouTube videos like down some mad rabbit holes, learning about social media. And I realized, you can actually get paid to do this full time. Like, I think people were asking me anyway, because I built up the page for my house music event.
Yeah.
Like, can you help me do it? And so I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, 7 hours straight, 5 days in a row, just literally grafting.
Yeah.
And then on the last day, I called Sam because I was like, I just knew he was the perfect person because Sam's a really good speaker, like quite charismatic. Everyone gets on with him. So I called him and was like, Sam, let's do this. Like, I explained what we have got to do, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, this is perfect. First person Sam ever called, completely random as well, just a random person on Instagram, doesn't know him, doesn't know who he is, just called him, pitched him, and he signed up there and there. We're like, yes, we're going to be rich.
To dig a bit deeper into this story, so at the time I was working in a sales role. I was doing quite well in a recruitment role.
Yeah.
And
you look like a guy that was in recruitment, actually.
So for some reason I hear that a lot, like just sales or whatever. But yeah, I was. That was my bread and butter. I always done fairly well from commission-based roles.
Yeah.
So yeah, Luke tells me about this idea with the marketing agency. We're just like, all right, cool, let's do it. Like as Luke said, the first person I called, I had to sneak out of my job, told my manager I was going to the toilet. I went to the toilet and I was literally pitching this guy about social media. I knew nothing about social media. At the stage, right, we do now for the viewers listening.
I hope you do.
And yeah, a guy called Simon signed up with us, and at the time, I think we charged like 250 quid a month. But that's huge to us because it was like the first ever quick win. And this Simon guy, shout out Simon actually for SK Roofing, is still a client today, 4 years later. And thank you, Simon, for staying with us for the 6 months. What we didn't know what we were doing, turned out we kind of worked out. And now we're quite
on the go, built his business up. I mean, that's really important, right? I mean, client retention rates are so important. I think it really shows who's good and who isn't, because if especially in marketing agencies where it is sort of you pay monthly business for your services to be managed, if people are just jumping ship all the time, it doesn't reflect well, does it? So it's really amazing to hear that you've kept him on since. So in terms of the reason you left both of your 9 to 5, like how did you find starting up your business whilst working the 9 to 5? Obviously you were sort of sneaking out of your recruitment office to go and do it.
For me, it was very difficult because anyone listening to this, if you are in sales, it has to be your bread and butter for you to actually excel. So my billings went from being a fairly good recruiter, making good money, to starting a side hustle, just plummeted massively, just dropped. So the way I exited was I actually got fired.
Okay.
From my recruitment job. It was like mid-pandemic at the time.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe like the first couple months into the pandemic. And when I got fired, I literally had barely any money to my name. First person I called was my mum. Regrettably, love my mum, but you know, they're always going to try and look out for you to make sure you don't make a bad decision.
Yeah.
And I said, Mum, I just got fired from a job. She's like, what are you going to do, son? I said, I'm going to try my side hustle. You know, I'm going to try and do it full time. Just pure negativity. Like, what if it doesn't work? You're not going to be able to pay your rent. As you do in sales, I had like a watch on finance, Mercedes on finance.
All the flashy bits.
And she was like, how are you going to pay all your stuff? And I said, I'm going to work it out. And then within 2 months, I think we like 3x'd the company.
Oh, wow.
And everything just came together. You know, we moved into offices. We invested so much, though. It's important to say, I know we'll go into more detail shortly, but mentorship for us is one of the reasons we're here today. Like we wouldn't be where we are today, 6-figure agency, if we didn't invest in the front end, because when you start a business, you don't know what you're doing. You know, you need to learn from the experts.
Definitely, and I think mentorship is something that's really grown out of the pandemic because, you know, like yourselves, everyone wants to now be an entrepreneur. They've seen a lot of the stuff on social media with all the success, and I think unfortunately people do get in the mindset of, okay, well, a lot of people are doing it on social media. It's a lot easier than they think. So what they might do is they might watch a couple of online courses and then go, actually, I'm a mentor now. I'm amazing at this, and then end up scamming people, unfortunately. So, you know, it's really important that, you know, you put the hard yards in. You've got to put the graft in to get started because it's not going to be easy to build any business. And I guess, obviously, Simon was your first client. How did you feel knowing that, you know, your sales that are now coming in through your own business is something that you fully generated yourself? It's all off your hard work. Because obviously, with recruitment and what you're doing with working in a bank, you're earning money, but you're doing a job for someone else. It's not something that you have created personally and built up.
That first feeling when you make your first little bit of money from a side hustle, no matter, it could be even 50 quid.
Yeah.
Hooked. Yeah. Instantly. Like, you're just hooked. You're like, this is possible.
It got my Nando's, man. It's paid my Nando's. I'm happy.
Yeah, literally. Like, from that moment, it just kind of installed belief in me, and I think Luke as well. Well, firstly, we thought it was going to be easy because it was the first person I ever called. It was not that easy. You know, I think we were actually stuck on one client for about 3 months.
Wow.
But it installed the belief that, okay, we can make something of this. And then the more people we were learning from, you know, there were kids at the time who were 22 years old. They were making £20,000 a month from a laptop. So I thought, well, look, if these guys can do it, you know, Luke's one of the smartest guys I know. Very, very systematic, operational. I'm very hands-on with sales. Like, there's no one better for this to scale it than us.
Yeah.
And yeah, in answer to your question, like, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling for that first client. You know,
I definitely think it's going to be like, because it happened straight away. I did think, oh yeah, we're going to be rich. Like, this is good.
I'm ordering my baguette now.
So it didn't turn out like that, but yeah, we just kept going with it. It's like consistency, really. And like, that's Simon. We knew we were doing a good job for him because he actually ended up referring like his friends to us.
Yeah.
So he was a roofer. They then got Jimmy's got a driveway company, and it just kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah, I think word of mouth is something that drives a lot of business to people. I mean, it's so important, and it really reflects, you know, how good you are at your service. So obviously coming on from that, so obviously you've started your social media agency, you've started to build it through the pandemic. So how did you guys find the pandemic? How did you find building your business in a pandemic?
So this was pretty interesting, to be fair. So we lost all our clients at the start of the gang day. We built them up, and we had like 5 or 6, right? But we were doing okay from it. And we were scaling. Yeah. And we just spent like $3,000 on a mentorship as well, just before the COVID hit. Yeah. So we were like, we've just spent like a lot of our money, and now we've just lost every client we've got. So this is great. So for a temporary period, what we do is we knew how to run Facebook adverts, Instagram adverts, and our friend could get fruit and veg within 24 hours, and this was when Tesco's and that were not getting food for 3 days. Yeah. So we were like, let's just run adverts in our local area, set up a fruit and veg business, and we were just out every day, like dropping fruit and veg. Like, if we did well from it, made probably like 10k in the first month. It was crazy. And then we just used that, and we actually just offered our services to a few local businesses in the community that like had lost their business, completely lost their business, and we were like, we just helped them for free, to be honest with you.
Well, I think that was part of the problem during the pandemic, wasn't it? It's a lot of the like services that people had, you know, they were sort of the first to go in terms of outside contractors that they were working with, just because I mean, they want to keep the roof over their head. You know, you've got to pay for an office, yet you can't even get to the office. You've got to work from home.
Exactly, It's a good time. It technically is a good time to advertise because you've got a lot of eyes on phones. Everyone's on their phone. Everyone's at home. But the thing is, because no one knew when they were going back to business, like, they can't put money into it. They need to feed themselves. So it was a weird experience for everyone. But I feel like we learned a lot during that and built good relationships during it as well.
Would you say that was your hardest challenge since starting the business?
I'm going to say no, because at the time we were still in jobs. So,
yeah, okay.
You know, we had a side hustle that was making a few grand a month, which was nice. You know, we never touched the money.
No, of course, yeah.
But we weren't dependent on it at the time. So, I mean, from there, like, the challenges in the foreseeable future that didn't yet happen at that stage that have happened now have far outweighed that as a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, like when it comes down to staff, taxes, VAT, corporation tax bills.
Yeah.
Staff especially, like, for example, I read in a book, it's really interesting, you know, as a human, you've got 4 primary emotions. We've got a team of 10, right? So that's 40 emotions potentially you could be dealing with.
A lot of things that could go wrong.
in a day. So yeah, there's definitely been other challenges prior to that. It was a challenge, of course. Yeah,
It's you know, when you've got people working for you, it's very different. Like, I haven't experienced it personally, but I can imagine that, you know, these people are dependent on you guys building your business, because that's how they get paid. If you guys just stopped tomorrow, they don't have a job. So I can imagine there's been a lot of challenges. So in terms of mistakes that you've made since starting and scaling a social media agency, is there anything you might share for anyone that's looking to get started?
Yeah, of course. I mean, where do we start? We've definitely made a lot of mistakes along the way. I think one of the biggest mistakes was thinking you can do it by yourself. You know, as entrepreneurs, I think you are very self-sufficient and independent, but there's a great book, I think it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It talks about, it's a great book, you know, one of the best books I've ever read. It says interdependence is far more effective than independence. You know, interdependence is when you come together and work together. So, you know, working together is something that is so beneficial to grow your business. Like, we didn't hire, in my opinion, quick enough. We were trying to do everything at the same time. So last year, I think it was May last year, we had a record-breaking month. We hit, you know, multiple 5 figures in revenue. Profit margin was at an all-time high because we didn't have many staff.
Yeah.
But then with more clients that come, the more delivery that arises. And that was literally one of the hardest months of our life, because we just didn't have the team, the systems or processes
24/7
in place for it.
I think that's part of the problem that some businesses make, is that they do not want to buy or bring staff in. And I mean, the problem is, like, you might be on the up, but as soon as your customer satisfaction goes down because you can't give enough time to the clients, because at the end of the day, you know, you can only work so much and actually only deliver so much with your own time. You have to have staff that you can come in, mentor and grow into your company so that, you know, your business can grow. You have to invest in the business, don't you, to grow?
Yeah, I think if you're happy at a certain level, you could run this agency and just do it yourself and earn decent money. But if you're an entrepreneur, most of the time that's
never
not going to
enough,
be happy for you. So you're going to want to scale it, and you're going to want more and more. So that's when you need the team, and having the team is definitely the hardest thing about it, because you don't think you're going to find people as good as you and who are on it as you. And I mean, that is the truth in a way, because it's your business, but there are still good people out there. Yeah.
How did you find the hiring process? Like, as first time entrepreneurs, you know, who've been successful growing your social media agency, you know.
The first thing we actually did was got a virtual assistant in the Philippines.
Okay, yeah.
So that was something that we learned from our first mentor, actually. Get someone in the Philippines. They'll just do a lot of outreach for you and help
DMs
you.
And things
literally
like that,
DMs, sending emails, etc. And that was probably one of the best things we did as well. For what we were paying out and what we were getting, it was perfect at the time. Like, just bringing us all these leads in on a consistent basis.
I think we've also been quite lucky in terms of, between me and Luke, we've got a very good network. You know, I'd like to say we're quite trusted within our local community. So I had an amazing guy come to me called Jack, who has been with me for about a year now. Amazing salesperson, and he was a friend of a friend. I put an Instagram post out at the time saying I'm looking for a sales guy. At the time, I was doing all the sales myself.
Oh, wow.
Doing well from it, but also working.
You can only sell so much by yourself, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. So working like 14, 15-hour days.
Jesus, yeah.
It's hard to look after the business when you're spinning so many plates. It's time to hire a sales guy. So yeah, this guy called Jack came to me, and yeah, shout out Jack, is a freaking amazing closer. He is one of the reasons, in my opinion, I'm sure you'd agree, why our business is where it is today. you know, turning over a sizable amount, he's brought on some amazing clients. So we've been quite lucky with our network. People have kind of found us a lot of the time, or people within our network have connected us with other people, what we've then interviewed. Yeah. But you've got to bear in mind, I come from a recruitment background as well, so that definitely helps.
It suited quite well for you to go and recruit a team. I think, you know, touch on it there, like, you know, without investing in your team, you wouldn't have seen the success that you're seeing now. I think it's so important that people invest in their future, whether or not that's a mentor or it's going to networking events or anything, right? I mean, people that want to become entrepreneurs, I mean, we can all try and do it ourselves, and you will get, you know, the odd person that will massively succeed from just watching YouTube videos. But I think getting out there, connecting with people is so important. Like, you know, I've said it before, but, you know, your network is your net worth. Just because, you know, to find clients, it usually goes word of mouth. A lot of stuff goes through the word of mouth. So, you know, being in the right room where, you know, maybe you've got clients or you're meeting other social media people that go, oh, I'll tell you what, these guys are really good. Here you go, grab this client and I'll give them to you.
Yeah, I think it's the relationship you build with your mentors as well. So like everyone wants to help everyone, and the fact you can just go to someone and WhatsApp them and ask them a quick question, which you can explore on the internet for hours and get 5 different answers. It's good just to have someone say, look, this is what I would do. Just go and do it.
This is what I done. It worked for me, because like when you Google it, right? It's like if you Google, I've got a headache, they're going to say you're going to die. Yeah. So it's amazing having that direct line and that personable relationship with a mentor that will help you get started. So I guess for people that want to start a social media agency, I mean, it's definitely something that a lot of people are doing now with entrepreneurs. You know, entrepreneurs want to start a lot of side hustles, but I think it's Iman Gadzi.
Yeah, Iman Gadzi.
Gadzi, that is it. Yeah. Obviously, he does videos on starting at SMMA. So a lot of people want to do it. What advice would you give to people that are looking to start off it without spending any money on a mentor? Like, what would you advise them to do?
I'd say, firstly, YouTube. So there's some really credible mentors that give away so much value for free. There's a guy called Jordan Platten who we learned a lot from Jordan. You know, if you go on Jordan Platten's YouTube channel, he gives away so much value for free. Before we ever bought a course, we managed to scale our business to, I think it was like a modest 5K a month. And I mean, that was all from free knowledge. But then I'd also say my advice would be, you have to not be afraid to sell. You know, you have to speak to people. That's what I'd say. You have to speak to people and contact people, because you could have all of the websites, the logos, the branding in place. Unless you're going to go out and speak to people and try and create a transaction, you're always going to be stuck in limbo.
I think that's you know, you touched on it there. It's got to be one of the most important things, right? You've got to know how to use a phone. Yeah. Unfortunately, like, I mean, I don't know whether or not it's just this day and age or if it's always like been like that, but people are scared to pick the phone up and call someone. Like, I mean... What happens, you know, what's the worst thing that can happen from picking up the phone and somebody tells you no? I mean, like, if you don't put yourself out there, people aren't going to, you know, say, this is the business I want to work to, because people buy people. You know, people want to speak to someone on the phone. Like, I get very frustrated if I'm buying something and I can't get a customer service person on the phone within 5 minutes, for example. I've got to go through some online chatbot, or I've got to send an email. It's like, I need help now, I want to speak to someone on the phone. Or especially if you're trying to buy something, like if I was going to buy social media services, which I have done, I want to speak to them. I want to go in their office maybe and
I think Zoom is a really good thing now.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
At the end of the day, like, so many people are calling you. To be honest, you've got all this AI technology, you don't even know if a real person on the other line anyways. But if you can get people on Zoom, build a relationship with someone, see them face to face, like they definitely will trust it more, because there's a lot of scammers in marketing. There's a lot 100%. Of scammers, and then that gives the good ones a bad name, and it's fully understandable.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly why we started, right? It was the amount of scammers and gurus out there now across any side hustle. Everyone calls themselves a mentor now. That, you know, I might start a social media company tomorrow. I've listened to this podcast, I'm going to go and start one. I'm going to start selling my mentorship tomorrow. So guys, if you want that, you can go online and buy it. But like, that's what people do. They maybe buy someone's online Udemy course for £20 and go, I'm an expert. Here you go, £100, £1,000 an hour, whatever you want, buy from me. And unfortunately, what happens is people will actually buy these services and then they'll be put off from ever starting a business because they've had such a bad experience where maybe the person lacked the experience, or they are just outright scamming. Like, there are people that just outright scam you. You'll never get in touch with them. Maybe you buy an online course and never hear from them.
I completely agree. So you've got to be careful. You have to be so careful, because unfortunately there's more teachers out there who don't have credible agencies, then do. You know, there's a couple that I know of personally that have social media marketing agencies, but I'd say 80% of the mentors out there, especially in SMMA, social media marketing. Yeah, you need to do your research, right? You know, there's that saying, if you can't do, you teach.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, you know, if you can do, you can also teach. But you need to make sure if you're going to invest in a mentorship in anything, check out that person's credentials. A good place to start would be Company's House.
Yeah, you
know,
can
like,
see.
how long
yeah.
have they been running for? What's their social media looking like? Who are their case studies? Like, what are their Google reviews, their Trustpilot reviews?
Definitely, and I mean that's a lot of the stuff that we do as part of our vetting process is to make sure by checking Company's House, checking previous tax returns, because I think, you know, you said it there, right? You know, if you can't do, you teach. Some people do, but I think it's really important, and all of our mentors on our website do. They have to do it, because unless you are in the weeds and are actually grafting day to day, whether it's property, whether it's trading, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's social media, unless you are living that lifestyle of running an agency, it's very difficult, I think, to lecture people on how you can do it. So I think it's amazing that you guys
I think
do.
you see, like, on Instagram, you see a lot of most of the people that aren't actually doing the agencies, doing the coaching, they're the ones that are flashing the most. They're the ones driving the Lamborghinis, like do on the maddest holidays all the time. That a lot of those people, not all of them, but a lot of them are living just trying to sell their coach packages.
Instagram lifestyle,
they're trying to sell it. Whereas I feel like that's why it's good to go with someone that's real. You can get transparency.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing that I find actually with a lot of social media agencies is a lot of them actually don't focus on their own brand because they're too busy running an agency, building other people's brands to be.
We were talking about this literally the other day.
Yeah, the previous podcast. Yeah, I think it was like up until a year ago, we were so busy building our clients' brands, we really neglected our own.
Yeah,
we've got a team in place now, an amazing graphic designer called Cara. You know, she's really created an amazing brand on our pages. And also, just by me and Luke putting ourselves out there and actually trying to create content, because I think you touched on it before, people buy people. And in the social
100%.
media space, you can't be a salesman in the social media space. I know that sounds
people get turned off straight away, don't they?
Exactly. You know, you need to be a conversational problem solver. You need to be able to understand a client's problems and be able to diagnose it and then solve it with a solution via ads, creating cash flow inquiries. And to be honest with you, like, you know, marketing is a cash flow business. You can quite easily not hire any staff, stay as a freelancer, probably make 10,000 a month. But I think when you get to that initial 10K a month stage, you need to make a decision. Do you want to scale further, or do you want to stay around where you are, hire a couple of people virtually? Any option's a good one. You know, 10K is a nice life.
I mean, it's completely down to the person, right? I mean, I think if you look at like the average wage in the UK, I think it's around 25, 30K. So 10K puts you way above everyone. I mean, you said earlier, modest 5K. I mean, I think a lot of people would be happy on 5K a month, right? I think it really depends on what they are looking to do.
I think one bit of advice I'd say as well is that a lot of you see a lot of videos and it's like, just quit your job, like, just start this, quit your job, and definitely quit your job, but you don't need to do that necessarily straight away. Like me and Sam, we built up the 5K before we quit our jobs. When we quit our job, like we weren't really hit, like a proper minor hit to be able to go, and now we've got 40 hours a week to do it.
Yeah, I think it is a strange one. I think that's part of like the get rich quick scheme. You get these like gurus saying, quit your job and be rich. Quit your job, start your own business, be rich within
passive income,
12 days. There's no such thing as passive income.
I completely agree.
It's never going to be it, because anything, like for me, the closest thing I could think of passive income would be maybe you run an online service business and you have 100 people working for you that do all the sales, but you're still accountable. Like you still have things to do. You can never get a passive income. You might be able to go and work wherever you want in the world, but it's not passive. You're never going to get a job that allows you to sit at home and play Warzone all day, unfortunately.
Yeah, I believe you can have like semi-automated income. No, I don't even believe that. I believe you can have systems and processes in place which might require you to slightly step back. So you're not working 12-hour days, you might be doing 5-6 hour days. But those systems you have in place aren't going to be streamlined for the rest of your life.
No.
We chop and change, especially on the delivery side, ads every single day. Not every campaign makes it. You know, not every staff member is going to come in every day feeling the best version of themselves. You have to be, as a leader of a business, somebody who they can come to with a problem and try and make them become the best version of themselves. And it's the same with mentoring as well. You know, you're going to have bad days. We've had so many bad days. Probably more bad days than good days, but the good days make the bad days worth it.
Yeah, the most important thing is showing up, right? I mean,
100%.
People think it's all about having an amazing day, 10 out of 10 every single day, but it's not. It's about, okay, well, I had a 1 out of 10 day yesterday. Tomorrow I'm back again, back in the office early, back working 12 hours and I've just absolutely smashed it. I've closed my new client, you know, it's fantastic. So I guess obviously you guys are running a fantastic social media agency. It's amazing to hear about that. So in terms of the mentoring, what made you guys get started with mentoring?
I think the main reason we got started in mentoring originally, just for transparency, was not everybody could always afford our done-for-you services.
Yeah.
So we started thinking to ourselves, well, we can teach how we do it ourselves, you know, how you can run your own ads, how you can sign clients, how you can become profitable. And instead of paying an agency a monthly fee, it's a one-off fee. And, you know, we're here for you, we're here to support you. And I think that kind of tied into helping other aspiring social media marketing agencies to do what we've done, because I'll be the first to say I'm not the smartest guy. You know, I'm dyslexic, I've done bad in school. If I can do it, anyone can do it. You know, I genuinely believe that. You just have to believe in yourself, and you need the right guidance to actually do it. You need a sickening work ethic, and you need to be resilient. Some of those things you can't train, but I think the knowledge we've acquired since 2019, we've got the blueprint, we've got the systems, we've got the processes, we've got the infrastructure. Why not give it away to people so they can do what we've done, so they can escape what probably they're not feeling very fulfilled in doing every day? You know, that's that. I think that's why. Have you got anything you'd add to that as well?
I think we always knew we wanted to do something like doing mentorships. However, we wanted to do it when we're ready, because we talked about this already today, but so many people are doing it and they're not really living the business. Whereas like we're in the trenches now. Do you know what I'm saying? If we're facing problems, we're going to be able to give advice based on what's going on right this second. So that was one thing we wanted to be ready for it. So that's why we wanted to start doing it recently rather than years ago when we first started.
And we've declined mentorships probably for the first 2.5 years. You know, people have said, can you teach us how to build an agency? No, like, I'm not ready. I don't even know. I'm still trying to work it out.
I think that's important. I think it's really important. I think that also shows the signs of a good mentor. Like, I've been burnt in the past from having mentorship, and the problem was that mentor should have said no to me, because they weren't ready themselves, and I probably wasn't in a position to be mentored at the time. So I think, you know, having that ability to turn people away when, you know, you can get that short-term gain is really important. So in terms of your mentorship, what is involved? What will people get? And I really liked also, you touched on the point of the do-it-yourself model alongside, you know, we'll do it for you, because I think a lot of people are going into that now. I think it's really important, because obviously I think everyone should have access to be able to do it yourself. But, you know, if you decide you don't want to do that, you've got the experts here that you can. So mentorship, what is involved in your mentorship program? So
it all starts with a full day of consultancy. You know, we need to understand exactly what this person is trying to achieve, what their goals are, and where they're trying to get to. You know, if somebody says they want to get to 40k a month, it's not that simple.
Yeah, you got to get to 5, 10, 20.
Exactly, yeah. We need to break down the barriers of, you know, what they're actually trying to achieve. Is it freelance? Do they want to take over the world? Do they want to be the next, I don't know, blue chip company that floats the stock market? Right? So it's very difficult to give a set in stone exactly what it includes, because it's going to be very personable. Every single person we've ever mentored has had a different goal, a different vision. So firstly, understanding what somebody wants. Secondly, putting in a plan and how they're going to get there. And then thirdly, just sharing the systems of how to get started. And I'll be the first person to say, it's not as complicated as everyone thinks. You just need a little bit of guidance and a plan and a structure. But most importantly, you need to put in the work.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'll be the first to say, if you're thinking about investing in a mentorship, but you don't think you have the time, then it's probably not right for you. You know, you need to be able to have that resilient mindset. And then we can teach you the rest in terms of 0 to 5k, 0 to 10k, how to make your first hire, you know, how to organize your client delivery side of the business, how to put money aside for taxes.
Yeah.
We never got taught about how to put money aside for taxes. That's another mistake we've made. You know, our first corporation tax bill, we were like, oh shit. You know?
I didn't know I had to pay this.
Literally.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you're getting two sides of it really, because Sam's the sales director, I'm the marketing director. So you're gonna get a lot of knowledge and firstly how to close clients, how to get sign up clients, which is the first step really. And then with my side, you're gonna get actually the marketing. One thing we do offer as well is people that might be able to sign clients but can't actually do the marketing yet because they're still learning. We actually offer service where we'll do the marketing for them as well. So there's lots of different ways we can do it based on that person's experience.
I believe this is where we're unique, because there's so many mentorships we've done, which have been amazing, but it's all been about marketing.
Yeah.
Where I think we add something unique to the table is, you know, we're going to teach you how to get results, but we're going to teach you how to get the clients to get the results.
You're going to teach them how to run an SMMA business rather than just how to market.
Precisely. And it's like, you know, when it comes down to making your first hire, you don't need to spend 30 grand a year.
No.
There's an amazing market out there in the Philippines, South Africa, where you can get full-time staff for, you know, $20 a day. And that is still far above the minimum wage in these countries. You know, they're having a nice life, and they'll be, I swear to God, they'll be the hardest workers of your business. When you get your virtual assistants, they'll work harder than your UK staff. You know, they'll be so grateful, and they're loyal. You know, so it's about the hiring structure, but how you can do it cost efficiently as well.
I think that's an interesting point. I think like hiring in the UK, there's obviously a lot of good talent, and also like apprenticeships. I think apprenticeships are really good methods, actually. I mean, I personally went through an apprenticeship when I was younger. I find that, you know, because you do get, I mean, the education system in the UK, I'm not going to go into because we could talk about that for hours, but
sure.
You get a level of mentoring if you get a good person to be, I don't know, the person that teaches an apprentice, right? You can get somebody good who can mentor you, and I think bringing that into a business like yours, you might find a lot of success. I'm not sure how you go about getting an apprentice, but like, I think that would work quite well. So in terms of mentoring, how can people get started? How can they find you?
So this is where MentorME comes in. So you've created this amazing website where you can actually find out about what we've got to offer. I think you can inquire through the website as well, right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to have a conversation as well before you purchase any package, because just as you want to make sure we're a good fit for you, we also want to make sure you're a good fit for us, and we're going to be able to help you. We don't want anyone signing up that potentially maybe they're not a good fit for us, or we don't think it may work for them for any particular reason. So I do say message us first.
Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram. Both we've got private Instagrams as well as our Harvey Warrington Media page. I think check us out, do some due diligence yourself before, just to see what we're about. And
I think that's really important, talking about like we need the mentors to, or the mentees rather, actually want to work with a mentor, because as much as we want you to have a success story, we want success stories. Like, as a platform, we want the good reviews on our site, because I mean, everyone that leaves a review is vetted. You know, we're not like Trustpilot where you're going to get people can just leave whatever review they want. Everything is real. So if somebody has a bad experience, whether or not that's their fault or the mentor's fault, we don't want that. Obviously, we vet mentors so that it shouldn't happen because they're high quality. But I mean, it's 50-50, right? I mean, if you get a bad person that can't be taught, they're usually going to have a bad experience.
So I went to a
I think, sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, I think it's really important, like from mine and Luke's point of view, that whoever we do work with, we feel that we can genuinely get results for.
Yeah.
You know, we're not afraid of turning down a business. You know, we're honoured with anybody who might be interested in potentially working with us, but it's really important, like Luke said, we need to make sure we're the right fit for each other, because, you know, what you've built, Jack, with MentorME, I think is so individual and unique. You know, we want to be a part of the process, the building blocks. We don't want to ever bring somebody on who might not be the right fit. So to get in touch with us, like you said, via MentorME Instagram, let's, have a chat via Zoom. And see if there's any synergy there,
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. So that was Luke and Samuel from Harvey Warrington Media. So if you guys want to learn how to build an SMMA agency, these are you guys.